By the time you actually see a parasite, they've already have a whole community inside of the body. They've done something that made it so inhospitable that it kicked them out because they don't want to be seen ever. So that's why it's so important to keep up with it, because just because you see one worm come out of you or any of your animals or kids, that's just one of thousands that can live in you.
Hey guys, welcome to today's episode. Today we are interviewing Kim Rogers. Yes, Kim Rogers, the worm queen of rogershood.com. We are asking her all of your burning questions that you guys submitted, and also, of course, a couple tangents of our own. Some things to consider as you listen today. Number one is that we have a code with Rogers Hood. You just use UTSP10 and it'll give you 10% off your purchase. Also, they have like flash deals all the time for like 20% off as well. So keep an eye out for that. And secondly is that we had so much tech issues with this episode. Kim's browser was full, a couple of our batteries died, and it was just like chaos and so fun. And what a joy to get to conversate with Kim. She's such a light and we love talking with her. And make sure you stay till the very, very, very end for some bloopers. Okay, let's get into the conversation. Welcome to Under the Sun podcast.
I'm Irene.
And I'm Aileeah. We're so glad you're here. Grab a hot
or iced coffee and join us as we talk about everything under the sun.
Hey guys, welcome to Rogers Hood. Oh my gosh. Guys, welcome to Under the Sun podcast. I don't even know where you're at today. We are here today with Kim with Rogers Hood because you guys loved her, your episode popped off like crazy, and people loved it, but they had questions. And so here we are to ask Kim herself the burning questions that people are wanting to know, okay? Yes. Which we know your website is a wonderful resource, and you just relaunched like a beautiful brand new website like a couple of days ago.
It looks amazing.
It looks so good. How long were you building that?
Since January.
That is such a feat to do I'm so proud. It's so hard. I get it. It's so hard.
It's so hard. And not only that, but we were also finishing our log home. Building our 10,000 square foot manufacturing facility, and we started the website. So all of those things got put to bed on Thursday. It's like, I'm kind of like, what am I going to do with my time?
Yeah. What are you going to do?
I'm starting a podcast.
Are you really? Oh my gosh. If you need any, not that we're technically we're all this, but if you need any tips of equipment, this is what we do. So we're here for you.
And we don't like to throw thousands and thousands and thousands at it. So we try to get the best for bang for your buck?
Yeah. So sorry, I'm not trying to be rude. I was pulling up the questions for
no, you're good.
From we have a slew.
Yay.
Do you want to start with yours?
So do you want to do the update on the because of the last podcast, the facility wasn't done yet. So tell us all about it.
So June, we flew up there and we opened it. It was great. It's 2,000 square feet is the office side, and then the other side is all the manufacturing. They have tons of space. It's all brand new. We're on about 3 acres of land. So we have some room to grow. We're actually thinking of buying the lot next to us because it's for sale, and we want to just have as much space as possible out in Jonesboro.
Yeah.
So it's really been such a fun year of growth and being able to build off everything. We finished our log home. We got a final on it and it's done.
Yay.
Fully moved in last week. So that was great.
Oh, amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So it's
but you're not in your log home right now.
No, I'm not. I kind of fell in love with living in the city.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we rented an apartment to move us out of to finish it in December of last year.
Okay.
And then we couldn't live in it while we were waiting for the final. So then the inspector comes in and signs off on it. And that was in June, right before we finished the manufacturing facility, 3 days before we finished our log home. And then we went but we didn't have our furniture in it until this last week. So it's done, finished.
Yay.
Sheets on the bed, blinds on the windows. It's finished.
Amazing.
So this has been 5 years we've been.
Wow.
Yeah, it's wild.
So excited for you.
Yeah.
I know, it's so great. Everything is just really working more towards healing all systems. When you're so chronically ill and you're in that low part of your life, it's really hard to dig out.
Yeah.
Financially dig out. You've got house issues going on. You know, we did all of this because we wanted to be mortgage and debt free because I was so sick. And if I died, then my husband would at least have no mortgage and no debt. That was always our goal.
Yeah.
So now I'm healthy and, you know, it's like, let's live life to the fullest for a while and see how that goes.
That's so amazing.
So yeah, I guess, do you have a health update for you? Like how do you feel? How often are you cleansing? And what other, like, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? Like therapies do you like to partake in?
Yeah.
So I've been doing a lot of hyperbaric chamber oxygen therapy.
I'm so jealous.
Oh my God, I love it. You know, if you have the space, you should just get one and have it in your house because it's like $100, $250 each time. And they say you want to do 80 to 100 to really get that benefit. Okay. That's expensive. That's the cost of it by the time it's all. And then multiple people can use it. Like I use it. My husband uses it. Our family uses it. Our friends use it when they come over. You just sit in it for an hour and you're just like literally sitting there in oxygen.
That's amazing.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So I do that a lot. I found out I had Lyme last Christmas. And so I've really been just working on all of the modalities that keep the symptoms versus trying to always focus on, I got to put it in remission, you know, more focused on how do I feel today in order for me to be able to continue to be symptom free. Yeah, so I feel like that mindset changed for me. So I'm cleansing because of that. I cleanse with a couple of different herbs than I normally do, and I'm loving it. It's great. We might be having a kit come out with.
Oh, sneaky peek. Okay. So would it be then hypothetically speaking, a Lyme kit?
It would be, well, when you get your lymphatic system going, your Lyme goes into a lot more of remission. So we're actually going to be bringing a lymphatic kit with Lyme herbs in it. So
Gimme.
Yes.
Because I also have Lyme. I was when was Leo born? Shoot. It's like 4 years ago. I was diagnosed, like from an herbalist, with Babesia.
Okay.
And Bartonella. So
Bartonella's tough. It's a tough one.
Here I am.
We're doing great.
I mean, yeah, it's, I definitely take herbs and stuff. Like I can tell, like, but I don't think I have I think a lot of the work I did prior, like a couple of years ago, did a lot of, got rid of a lot of the stuff that was like making it hard to function. So, okay. So then how does that correlate? This is all, we haven't gotten to their questions. Gosh darn it. I was like, we're going to be focused. We're not going to.
The best.
How does that coincide with your tincture kit? Because a lot of the questions, like, we probably can't get to them all because it's like, would it help my acne? Would it help my PCOS? Would it help? It's like so many, like, would it help this? How does it look with you, with your kit and then your Lyme working together?
So when you're able to open up the pathways and get them going with the herbs that assist your kidneys and not just your liver, but also assist with like your uterus, so PCOS, and for men, just keeping your hormones balanced as well as keeping your lymphatic going. Anything that you have going on actually will help, subside. It will kind of calm itself down when you're able to flush these things out and they're not collecting. And so there's herbs that help protect and support while you're doing that. And that's kind of what the goal is with the lymphatic kit. But I use Lyme herbs like T-Sol. So T-Sol helps with just the body flushing it out in order for it to not have the symptoms that Lyme normally gives you, right? So like for me, I used a lot more brain herbs for this one because mental health is a big one with me and my Lyme. And so I want to use herbs like lion's mane in order for us to be able to protect the brain, but also regenerate new neurons while you're taking the lymphatic. So it's not just draining of the body, but it's also helping the mind and draining the toxicity of the mind as well.
Wow, I love that.
Actually, that was one of someone's questions. Is like, hey, what about the mental battle when you're on a cleanse? Oof.
Oh, it's terrible.
I just did it for the first time. It was rough.
Yeah. Because it's like, thankfully, we were aware when we started it I knew it because she did a past parasite cleanse, but from the last podcast, I was aware that like my thoughts and my mood might be weird, but like you don't realize how I definitely knew there was like somebody else taking over my body to just like be overly dramatic about it. But I'm like, I don't think like that. What is happening? It's so crazy.
What is that? Because like I was remembering like awkward conversations that I had where I said something weird and then like you forget about it and then like you're like, oh my gosh, yeah, like I'm the worst communicator in the world. Why did I ever say that? Remembering things and then big things that you regret, big things in life, and then like I was like struggle bussing. I like took a break for a couple of days because I was like, the mental, like I could deal with all the worms coming out of all the parts. I don't care. But the mental part, how do we help this person and me truly?
Well, how do we help and why does it do it?
Yeah, both of those.
It's like OCD. It just kind of keeps going in a circle too, where you can't get out of this loop, and it's because they don't want to die. So, then stop doing what you're doing in order for
So then stopping was bad?
No, I think it's good because then you kind of stop and then you start and then you start and it's a cycle. That's how I do it. Yeah. I'll go for like 5 to 10 days and then I break because one, my skin gets really bad and I'm always on camera. So I can't have my skin being really bad, and you have to you have to get it together. Mm-hmm. So you're like sitting there like, I've got this together, and you're like pushing it all out of your mind because I mean, it's a mental struggle, but you're also removing toxins, and toxins are what causes all this anxiety.
Yeah.
So, and you don't really know what toxins you're dropping at the time. So you could be dropping spores, which are like causing you to really not like yourself. And then inside of your like intestines, you don't really know what's dropping inside of there. So
it's wild.
Coffee and enemas help a lot, which I know a lot of people hate, but I'm like, they're the only things that like get me out of it. But it was like to the point where like it made my intestines feel better, but it didn't make me feel that much better. Like I think it's something just important to talk about. Like, hey, like if you're going to do a parasite cleanse, like make sure your mental health is in a good place when you start. Cause like I'm not gonna lie, it like brings up thoughts that like I never think typically. Like, and it's like, no, actually I am a valuable person and I deserve to be here on the earth. Like, no. Yeah. What are we doing here? This is not who I am. So then I took a break. I was like, okay. Yeah. It's just wild the things they do to try to get you to not get rid of it. Which like what
crazy.
What is that mind control? Like what is that? Is that toxoplasmosis?
No, toxoplasmosis makes you have no fear. So you running around outside, not even caring in the world of what's going on.
But like, it's amazing that it's like controlling your mind.
It's its own frequency. It's its own vibration. It's alive. It's alive. And I think that's what freaks everyone out. It's alive. Yeah. It is. It's alive, right? Like it's growing like the mold grows, which makes it alive. Mm-hmm. So if you're able to shield your brain, like I increase my mushroom intake when I do a cleanse because I need to keep my balance going, in my mind. And I have Lyme and Epstein-Barr in my brain. So that really kind of goes in and cleans it up. So it's like removing it and you're trying to get out of that habit. It's a habit, right? It's a habit of bad thoughts. Yeah. And so you're breaking that habit, but your body doesn't want to break that habit. So it's a whole vicious cycle. So if you can bring something in like lion's mane and turkey tail to kind of assist with that while your brain is going through that, it's going to be even more helpful. Okay. And if you do it prior to a cleanse, which is what we're working on it. So you do it prior to the Parasite cleanse. So you have more thoughts and your body feels better while you're removing the toxins. You're going to build up that support. And then you come in and you remove the toxins after your body is kind of stronger than it was if you just went into the Parasite kit. Okay. And then we're also starting a program where there'll be people helping you. Like we brought in a facilitator that's what she'll be doing for 6 weeks is assisting you through a process so that when you do feel down, your community's there. You're not like, oh, do I go to Insta or TikTok? They're all right there so that you kind of have a place where everybody's feeling the same and being able to share a safe place for detoxers, because this is so new to everyone. Mm-hmm. But look at how our health is changing as far as in the news and all of the things that are going on. Like and we're all kind of pioneering it right now, showing these people like, oh, your mental health is rough. Well, this is how you need to help that while you're getting rid of these environmental toxins that we've all ignored for so long.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's kind of like how we're all kind of thinking about it now. But I feel like, to go back to your question, being able to protect your brain while building new neurons, like adding lion's mane to your daily regimen, is going to assist a lot, because it'll help rebuild those while the bad toxins are leaving. You're trying to rebuild that neuron pathway.
Okay.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
This is not a question for somebody else. I'm just going to say it. I'm sorry. But okay. Bridge the gap for maybe a listener who's like, what is the lymphatic system? What is that? What does it have to do with detox? Also, wait, let me just say this real quick. Mm-hmm. We have a ladybug infestation happening in the state of Illinois. So it is like you go outside and they're flying. It is everywhere. So if a ladybug lands on the screen.
It's like right about, he's going to crawl across your camera in just a second.
It's the secondary camera.
Okay,
but like I can't see it. So if a ladybug goes across, like they are coming. I don't know. We have vacuumed like 20,000 of them. Yeah. They're so
gross,
bad, and you realize how not weatherproofed your house is when this happens. So,
I understand. I lived in the log home. Yeah, and I had hornets coming in. No, it was bad. That's one reason why we had to leave.
Oh shoot!
Yeah, it was bad, man. It was bad. It's no more. There's no more hornets.
Good. Okay, that's good. Well, maybe we'll send you some ladybugs if you miss the vibe.
That's the weirdest infestation. I mean, it's kind of cool as everyone walking around feeling
Japanese.
lucky.
They're technically, it's like the ladybug's cousin, but the ladybug's cousin bites.
What? So it's biting?
They don't, only if they're like, if you're about to kill them and they'll bite you, but otherwise, like, they mostly leave you alone. But,
oh my God.
Yeah.
What science nightmare are we in?
And they're
it's like, probably Bill Gates who did it.
And black, not red and black. So my kids, it's like,
freaking Bill Gates and U.S. government.
Is that one gonna bite me? Like, is it orange or red?
Yeah. So
don't touch it either way.
So I say that to say, if anybody who's watching, you see a little shadow go across the lens, it's because I vacuumed earlier and they're everywhere. Yeah. I don't know what to tell you. We are clean people, I promise. Yeah. Anyways, back to the podcast. We're professional, everybody. Our listeners know that, like, there was like 2 weeks ago, there was a spider in here, and I'm not a fan. Like, I butcher my own birds. I'm like not, but like I don't like spiders, and so there was screaming, and we just left it all in the podcast because we're like, you know what, this is just who we are as people. It's fun.
Well, you know, I didn't like parasites. I actually left urgent care because I hated parasites. I hated lice, scabies, worms.
Yeah.
And here I am. I'm
worm queen. And now people send you pictures of worms.
I know. People send, like, you're the pro at it. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, I have a tough stomach, like a really, really tough stomach. And there have been 1 or 2 videos you've shared where I'm like, oh no, that's getting me. So I don't know how you get those videos all day, every day.
Did you see the one with the tapeworm? And it was the biggest tapeworm I've ever seen.
No, I missed it. I've been kind of limiting my social media because it's a little much right now.
Or did it come out of a human?
No, it came out of a human.
Oh, yeah. Okay. No, I saw the bear one.
Part 2. Well, have you ever been on like Instagram and you accidentally swipe too far and then it's like you've entered vanish mode, and I was panicking. I'm like, what does that mean? What's happening? That's how I felt just now. I was like, what does it go to?
Well, I'm like, does that mean creeper status, like incognito creeper status? But I don't know. And everybody says go into Google and do Google. I don't know. I am so technology challenged since 2021. Yeah. It's insane how challenged I am. I wasn't challenged back in the day. And then I had like all these health issues and a mini stroke. And now I'm challenged. And I'm like, what do you mean you can't? It just doesn't do it. What do you mean?
Yeah. Well, my first thought was like, it's the FDA. They're coming after.
They're coming.
It's like they're trying to stop this guy. But you know, that's just how I think.
That's the best. That's the best.
One of us may be on a watch list.
I am on a watch list.
So
but I just research. I deep dive. I go to .gov websites and go deep into the literature. And if you dig deep enough, they tell you exactly what they're doing.
Yeah.
And
that's where I found the CIA document knowing about parasites.
Do you want to tell us about that?
Sure. And I'm happy to send it.
Okay, send it to us.
Yeah, send it
do a
to
whole
us.
podcast on that one.
So in 1953, they released that the endoparasite was similar to a tumor, right? The C tumor. And so they released that in the 50s, and then they decided to put it in secret. And then in 2011, they released it again, declassifying it. And then in 2016, I found it because I used to dig like, with all of the stuff that's coming out with the Diddy stuff. I used to dig around in 2016.
Yeah, you're probably on that same list, girl. We twinsies.
Totally. But then I used that when I found it, I used that for my own health. And now I'm sharing what I have researched from knowing about it, but also being in Western medicine. So the combination of those two have helped me like kind of dig out and find out what is wrong with people, honestly.
Yeah. Well, and I know I've said this before on other podcasts, but like, because we're not afraid to deep dive and look, but we still also only know what we know. So I love when we can talk to someone like you who knows Western medicine and Eastern medicine and just like bridge that gap between us Googling, someone like my mom who just wants me to tell her and she doesn't want to Google and like the professionals. So I love the conversation.
I think we need all of it because like
we do.
We need every level so that like we can all just basically like, hey, this is the general finding of like basically trying to escape the matrix, and like this will, help and definitely not hurt you. You know?
Well, and if you look at it in the bigger picture, Western medicine wasn't put here to heal you. It was put here to save your life. And ultimately 100 years ago, it was for a money machine because they probably thought back then they couldn't keep up. To give them the benefit of the doubt, I would think, how would you keep up with the demand that you would need with herbs? So the smart thing to do is to synthesize the way those herbs are and sell them to the masses. And in order to synthesize anything, you have to use petroleum and you have to use synthetically driven things in order for the body to realize that they're similar, like bioidentical. And so in order to do that, they had to steal a plant that they can't patent. But you can definitely look at the DNA structure of that plant and try and come close. And then that's where side effects come in because it's not exactly, but it's close enough. So it allows you to understand how the body should react to it.
I appreciate you giving them the benefit of the doubt. I'll fully just say that they are doing it to make money because they make more money off your sickness.
Oh, for sure. They do. They do feed off of it. In fact, they have a pill to give you to not feel bad. And then there's another pill. And really, what's your root cause? And for me, my root cause was parasites and mold and Lyme. And you figure that out and they're going to lose money. But they also, most people don't realize how much everything is an insurance number. So the reason why you have multiple different levels of illnesses is because each level pays more. And then you're also allowed to do blood work for that level of how far in the disease is. And then there's a code, and that code is what goes on insurance, and insurance is what pays everyone. So it's a vicious cycle of, if they have, like me, I had endometriosis stage 4. Well, stage 1 and 2 probably didn't make as much money as stage 4. And then they were able to authorize all my surgeries, right? And they were able to put me on Lupron in order to slow the tumors growing.
Yeah. It's called a system for a reason, and it's definitely a business. And I like to just say in generalities that for one thing, the government doesn't care about your health, and nobody cares about your health like you can care about your health. And there's just certain places like Walgreens that are give away free things that are supposedly for your health and safety. But I'm if it was free, they're not offering free organic food. Right. It's not that's where we could actually all benefit is hey, how do we get healthy food to people in food deserts? Anyways, that's a different topic. Okay.
They're not even allowing you to give your knowledge free. That's the thing is you're not even, that's kind of where we're always in a sticky situation with Rogers Hood because I have the knowledge, this is my life's work. I have this knowledge, but without having that asterisk behind the knowledge, you're not allowed to just fork it over. They don't like that.
Yeah. That's what Barbara O'Neill got kicked out of her own country because she was just sharing things that were helping heal people just from basic diet, and yet she had to flee here to like help people. And it's like,
well, and
on.
her husband. Her husband was in the political arena.
He was. I did not know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I've been trying to get to go to her retreat to film. That's what I want to do.
Yeah. There's a gal. I'll send you her account. She helps people get into the retreat.
Oh, nice.
I had family coming this weekend, or I would have gone and spoke.
Oh,
that's awesome.
Oh, that would have been so fun to be there at the same time.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get back to the questions.
Okay,
the people
let's
with the
go back to the questions.
I'm distracted by Irene's fantastic nails, though. What is going on?
I don't normally get my nails done because I can do them myself. So it's like, but my mom is in town, so she treated me to my nails, and they're like, kind of like
they're iridescent. Is that
actually? This is one where like 80% of me is healthy, and then the other 20% is like the hair realm that I work in. And so I got this one where they paint it on and they hold a magnet over it, and it has a stripe. And my mom was like, isn't that metal? Because I keep harassing her about her lifestyle. And I'm like, shh, leave it alone. It's only my nails. So
life's about a little bit of joy, a little bit of health.
Yeah,
It's
I
all
get
right.
facials, but I try and get facials with the cleanest products. So
and at home I do everything clean, but I was like, I can do that myself. What can I not do myself?
We got to be human, or this
These crazy,
experience is going to be
dragon eyes.
boring.
Right.
I know.
Right.
Yeah. It's life's about balance. We all have our things that we like.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm like, I would never do that. And it's like, okay, well, that's fine for you.
Yeah. But before the camera chaos, we were talking about the lymphs. And since my lymphs are now full of heavy metals, how do I get these lymphs clean? What are the lymphs and why do they
why are they
matter?
connected to all of it?
Well, the easiest way is, to remind yourself you need to pee, poop, and perspire, because that's how toxins are released out of your body. When you're unable to release those toxins by moving your lymphatic system, which doesn't have a sphincter, so it doesn't pump. You have to pump it yourself. And that's movement, vibration, red light, massage. Different herbs help pump your lymphatic system so that it's pushing out the toxins, so it's not waste inside of your body, because the lymphatic system is your sewage, it's your waste. And unfortunately, the design is kind of flawed, because that's where you should have a sphincter pumping it all out, where the waste is. But that's where then you're required to kind of move the body in order for it to get pumped out. But while you're doing that, if you have herbs that help protect your kidneys while also helping them, then you're able to kind of do things with cleansing that's a lot easier. So red light moves your lymphatic system. Coffee enemas move your lymphatic system. Sweating moves your lymphatic system. So infrared or steam, cold, because it's shocking it and moving it. And when your body goes into cold, it thinks it's dying. So it's going to protect itself. So it's going to get everything moving and get it all out, because it's like, oh, what do I have to get out in order for me to survive? So that starts to push all those toxins out. And that kind of is where your body stays into the fight or flight or moves out of fight or flight. Your mental health starts to kind of come back, and the brain fog goes because you're moving the liquids and the sewage in your body.
Okay.
Do you ever do manual lymphatic drainage? Because I do that like daily, because it's just, I feel better when I do it.
What do you use? Your hand.
Yeah, she does it like subconsciously now. We'll just anytime she'll just be mid conversation. I'll see you're just doing this.
Because I can tell I think that is like the health problem I'm dealing with right now, is that like I can tell like when I'm really like congested up here. So then I'll drain it here and do the armpits, and then sometimes I dry brush, and then I have a rebounder that I jump on, and so that's what I do. What else should I be doing? I also do red light.
Do you use gua sha? Do you use the gua sha tools?
I have one. My kid dropped my gua sha on the toilet. So like, and I washed it, but like, we're talking to the worm queen. So now I just probably need to get it out.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest. So
they're like $14.99. You can buy a whole kit, and then I'll sit and I'll do gua sha, because this is where a lot of toxins in my body sits, my hands, and that causes the pain. So I need to move it. And it's funny because I do so many Zoom podcasts that no one really sees how much I'm moving. Kind of what you're doing. I do that too in my arms, but I'm doing it underneath.
Yeah.
to get them moving.
So how would someone know where their points of congestion are?
really the pain and stagnation in that area. So I know because I utilize my wrists a lot, like all day typing and on my phone, that this area, has some movement that needs to go. But you should be doing dry brushing. They've got really big washa. I don't know exactly what they're called, but they're wood. And if you want to like do that, any sort of movement that is going to assist your body while doing a cleanse is exactly what you need to be doing.
Yeah.
Vibration plates are the best. Like you can just stand there for 10 minutes and it just shakes you and you don't really have to do anything.
We went to a health conference and did one of those once. Like did we do Dave Asprey's like shake plate?
Yep, we did.
Can't think
he
of
had
what
a
it's
tester
called.
out there.
Yeah.
They're like $100 on Amazon.
Are they really?
Yeah, they're so
bad at all.
cheap. No, and then they have somewhere it has like a rubber, so you can do this. So it has some resistance. You can build a little muscle. I do like 5-pound weights while I'm on mine, and then I have like a phone holder that goes over my face. I'll show you guys.
Yeah, I love it.
So it like sits like this.
Oh,
Okay,
I love it.
And I'll sit and I'll do like my weights.
Yeah,
that's great.
Shake with the red light in my face.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's
Nice.
awesome.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Like, I don't know. Our body is just so incredible. Like the things that we
It
can
is.
do.
It's super resilient. If you give it a chance and you think about it, your mental, like my mental helped me get to where I'm at now, just continuing to do all the things, even when I'm exhausted. I'm still like, okay, you got to get up and move your body because that's what's going to make you feel better. If you sit in it, you're not feeling the heel. You have to feel the heel.
Yeah. And it's like, if you just sit in it, it's not going to get any better.
Right.
You're going to you're just going to feel that same feeling. Okay. You want to feel that all day? Like, that's so true. Okay. What else you got? So we'll do yours
All right,
first.
I've got one that says, why don't we treat our animals for worms while we're treating ourselves?
Oh, you should be.
Okay.
You should be. In fact, you can treat them just as many times as you treat yourself.
Because I know you recommend like treat the whole house at once.
Yes.
So they include the pets in that.
Yep.
Are you saying like
Everybody.
with the Parasite kit or with the
No,
different?
it's I recommend usually because I'm not a veterinarian, I'm not a doctor, but this is what we gave our pets was Safeguard. You can buy it on Amazon. It's fenbendazole. It's the same compound almost as menbendazole, which is the human part of it. Fenben. You can take it too as a human. I used to have a protocol on my website, but I don't anymore. You can take it like for 5 days.
Text me.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
But you should be deworming your dogs. In fact, some people do them monthly, and it's a powder that you put in their food. They're down in the dirt. They're drinking the pond water. They're drinking the puddles. Like they're licking you. They're giving you microscopic parasites, And so if you're able to combat that, you're going to have a much easier time with your pets. But I would say 100% of pet owners have parasites because of their pet.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I have like 41 birds out in my barn right now. And so like I've treated them, like if one goes down and is like sick, I treat them with either fenbendazole or ivermectin.
Oh, yeah.
And they usually spring back up within a couple of days. So like it's usually like some type of overrun, but I treat them like I would say definitely twice a year, but sometimes more if necessary. But yeah. That's what I read that and I was like, you're not treating your pets because like what about like heartworm? People are always like, oh, heartworm. It's like, okay, here's a question that nobody asked. Can we get heartworms?
Yeah.
Can they end up in our heart?
Yeah. It's threadworms, actually. It's threadworms. So I had them in my lungs, and then, your lungs and your heart are all in one. And so, I had threadworms. I had a hard time breathing. My heart, I would have heart palpitations. I'd have angina pains, which I thought were just because I inherited them from my grandfather, and I don't have them anymore. Since cleansing for the last 3 years, I don't have any of these problems. I also knew I had mold. Now I had mold. So I looked back and it was mold and parasites and they basically live together, which is so weird because most of the time there's mold somewhere when you have this overrun of parasites too.
Yeah. So I have a question on that then.
Yeah.
So because typically people think parasites like a tapeworm in your intestine. If you have like a threadworm in your lungs, you're not like, how does the science work on, like you can kill it off, but do you like exhale it out? Does it make its way to your digestive tract and you poop it
decompose
out
in your
somehow? Like
body?
how
Yeah.
you kill them off? Where do they go?
It's in your blood, your tissue, and your muscles. And
Okay.
so they're literally can be inside your cells. They can go in and out of the tissue. And then when you them, then they like come out of your lymphatic system and then you poop them out. That's why your lymphatic system
so they
is
all
so
end up
important.
eventually making their way to your poop somehow.
Right.
Okay.
And the herbs are a full body. So they're not just in one area of your gut. Most of the time people don't have that big of issues because they're in our gut. So when you get your blood drawn, you can have high levels of specific markers like EOS, which is eosinophils. So those actually will be a higher marker, and it shows that it's a fungus or mold or parasite that's inside of your blood. And your blood runs through all of your tissues and your muscle. So it ends up being all the same. And that's why your lymphatic system is so important to have it move it out so that you're not reproducing. And by the time you actually see a parasite out of one of your animals, they've already have a whole community inside of the body. They've done something that made that so inhospitable that it kicked them out because they don't want to be seen ever. So that's why it's so important to keep up with it, because just because you see one worm come out of you or any of your animals or kids, that's just one of thousands that can live in you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wild.
I am not want to get queasy. That made me a little bit queasy. I'm not gonna lie. That made me a little queasy, but also I want a parasite cleanse.
Yeah.
What about people who don't think parasites are real? And
they're just full of them.
I mean,
It's the parasite telling them they don't exist.
Yeah, it totally is.
do you know so say how you have to go to your doctor and ask for blood work.
Yeah.
If someone were to hey, I can't afford to not use my basically insurance because it'll be covered or whatever.
Yeah.
And they want to go get blood work to see if they need to cleanse, which we all know everybody probably needs to cleanse. If you have a pulse, you have a parasite. But what is there a marker that you see? You just said the EOS.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you're hey, if you're, I don't know, something blood worky, isn't in line, that probably means parasites?
Yeah, you can get tested specifically for Candida. And obviously if you have Candida and it's a high level, that's a parasite too. Yeah. So that's a marker. Okay. And I feel like sometimes Candida cleanses are actually harder than the actual worm cleanse, because Candida is a parasite. It lives off the host. So it's in the category of Candida parasites, even though it's an overgrowth of yeast. That ends up going into the parasite world as well. So that's a really high indication that if you have Candida overgrowth, that you've got something else going on in your body.
Because that was one of the questions. Does the cleanse that treat Candida, or is it a separate protocol like worms, or is it two separate things, or all the same?
Parafy itself is the parasite cleanse because it has wormwood, black walnut hull, Oregon grapefruit is in sustain, and that's for Candida. So Parafy is for parasites, sustain is for Candida, and then metal flush is for heavy metals. You're already going through die-offs. You might as well go through the tough die-offs all at once and bind. So it can you can do Candida cleanses separately if you'd like, but if you're really wanting to get overhaul a high level of at least, then you can do other cleanses individually once you kind of task yourself by getting the parasites out, right? Then you can kind of come in and do Candida individually, but it's all of them. So it's parasites, Candida, and heavy metals, and then you bind.
Awesome.
Okay. You want to keep going, or you grab one?
Yeah, we can go back because we can go just back and forth.
We already talked about the mentalness of it. What has to happen to not have to cleanse? Is there ever a diet, a lifestyle that means you don't have to cleanse anymore?
No, we should be cleansing. We're always exposed every day, unless you're in a bubble and you are fully control of everything you eat and you never get exposed to dirty water, because that's really a big one. I don't know if you guys saw my video, but we were in New York 2 weeks ago and the water is filthy. I would say New York's the worst and Seattle's second. I mean, we've tested the water in Seattle and it tested positive for parasites. So if you think about that and you're watching people shower in it, brush their teeth in it, they're drinking from a drinking fountain, they are eating ice, you know, all of this is contamination. So unless you're living in a bubble, there really isn't a time in our life right now where we're not being overloaded with toxins.
Yeah.
You know, so I would say that this is something that we should all be looking towards for the rest of our lives to keep our bodies healthy and happy and as best that we can, but also just realize that like there's no way to stop it. It's just cleaning it up, you know?
Yeah. So on that sort of track, what would you tell people? Because I know grounding is so important in getting out, putting your bare feet in the earth, but then there's all these videos of the worms going in your bare feet. How do you ease someone's stress levels on that?
Well, cleanse, but also make sure that where you are going hasn't been inundated with animals pooping there. I mean, that's really what it is that a lot of beaches don't let dogs on specifically because of this.
Yeah.
So, and then if you have to, when you're grounding, you want to ground in a specific area that you cleaned with like diatomaceous earth. And making sure that that area stays clean. And that's the area that you continually go to while you're grounding. So it's not completely avoided.
Like have a spot that the dogs for sure are not going, or the cats are not going.
I ground in our front yard because we have 2 dogs, which now like, I'm not going to lie, it's hard to enjoy my dogs sometimes since finding out about parasites.
Yeah.
A little bit. Do you find that at all?
Yeah, I feel the same. I don't have dogs anymore. I used to have 5 animals and I don't anymore. And I don't know if I'll get another dog because it is so restricting. But I feel like if you just deworm them and just be conscientious. I never really let my dogs lick me anyway on my face and if they do lick you in other areas, just clean that area with like some alcohol. You know, this isn't about like full avoidance or getting rid of an animal, but it is about, okay, well now you know that it's such an easy way to catch them. And then if you start to have the symptoms again of what you did before you cleanse, then it's time for you to cleanse. Like I know it's time for me to cleanse. Like I know it to my core. I have it sitting on my counter. My parents left today and I'm going to cleanse, you know? So I just know because your body starts to tell you, okay, I'm ready to release all those toxins that have been overloading your bucket for the last month that I haven't been cleansing. You know, I've been taking some time because I need a break here and there. And then it's like, oh, okay, it's time. Like, you know, and then you just pick it up and you don't have to always do it for 30 days. You literally can do it for like 10 days. If you start to feel better, okay, well, you kind of gotten rid of some of those toxins that are overflowing your bucket. Now your bucket might not be completely empty, but it's half, which it was full. So I'm going to take that and then kind of live my life a little bit more.
Yeah. And not like live it to where you're not afraid to walk outside or to where every meal makes you paranoid that, I can't like it. You have to eat.
Yes.
But I know there's that headspace too of like being grateful for your food versus being like, oh, this food might have a parasite. It might kill. Like you have to find that balance.
I just don't eat the food that I know is going to have the parasite anymore, which is a bummer because salmon's like my favorite food of all time.
Yeah, I love fish, but I'm not going to lie. Like I'll go to the store, the grocery store, and I look for like wild caught and I look at it and then like I think of the videos I've seen that you've shared. I think of it and then I go, not today, Shane. And then I leave. I'm like, I'm not buying it.
Yeah.
I can't. And like we do eat beef and a beautiful friend of ours, I do photography sometimes on the side. And so she wanted some family photos. She was like, would you trade? They raise hogs. And so they were like, would you like to trade half a hog for some photos? And I was like, yes, but I didn't have the heart to tell them that we don't eat pork. And so but I got it and I was like, oh yeah, I'll just get over it. It'll be fine. And I convulse and can't eat it. Yeah. I can't eat it. I've seen too many videos and I'm like, and I feel it on like a physical level that like, don't eat it. Don't eat it. Don't eat it. And like, so I can't. And so like, it just sits in our freezer taking up space.
I feel like even when I do, like my body rejects it now. I had some crab the other day and my body was like, no.
Yeah. Interesting. Do you think cleansing makes you more in tune with your body?
Oh, 100%. 100%. I feel like not just in tune with my body, but in tune with like my pineal gland and being able to think clearly, to be confident in myself, you know? So I feel like when you start to get rid of all of that, your body doesn't have anything to be upset about anymore. So it starts to go, oh, wait, this is the way we were always supposed to function. This is it.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember after my first, like, gosh, I was going to be so focused in this episode, but it's not. But like, after I did my first, like, basically, like, I had reached like a health rock bottom. And once I like did some liver work and some coffee enemas and some parasites and stuff, that like I had that thought. I was like, oh my gosh, is this how other people feel? Is this how we're supposed to feel? Because like it doesn't, I've never felt this in my whole life. I've never felt any type of calm. It's always been chaos inside my body and mind. And so like it's really nice. And then you kind of know, I kind of know like if it's getting out of hand, if like health is getting out of hand, because I'm like, oh, I need to do something to help my body, because you're not supposed to live in chaos. And so once you felt a little bit of peace, you know when there's a little bit of chaos coming around the corner, you know?
And you got to figure out how to deal with the not having chaos too, because that's a whole nother muscle memory and a whole nother neuron that's misfiring. And you're like, well, how do I get it to fire right? What do I do in order for me to not want to thrive off of the cortisol spikes? Because that's what we've been living in, fight or flight, and really pushing ourselves hard, because that's what we were indoctrinated to do, right? We were indoctrinated to be like, oh, this is normal. No. And you got to figure out a way to kind of get out of that vicious cycle once you get in it, because it's a tough.
Okay. So we left off at radiation.
Yes.
So it won't eliminate the radiation, but it will help the body do something.
Yes. And you want to actually add in our tincture called Recover, because it has shiitake mushrooms. And if you look at studies from when we bombed Japan and had radiation, the shiitake mushrooms absorbed it and cleaned it, and then it was gone. So shiitake mushrooms have, not medical advice, can show that it can help with that. It can help filter symptoms of radiation. It is tough to self-censor.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure.
I'm surprised. We have a button that we usually hit
we
that's like allegedly.
It's both of our husbands saying allegedly because they're like, you guys are going to get sued. So it's them, their
Allegedly.
voices. So we push that button.
Like, the government doesn't care about you. Allegedly.
I love it. Oh my gosh, that's so good.
So this is side rabbit trail, sort of. So not medical advice, but if someone is getting a what is it called? CT scan with contrast, shiitake mushroom. Yeah.
Or you can do like sustain, or, well, I say sustain because radiation can release viruses as well. But if you do recover like a few days before, and you do recover during, and then do it after, just really take those herbs and then also eat a bunch of shiitake mushrooms. It'll help absorb it in your body. I used to work as a radiographer, so I get it. Like I had a lot of radiation in my body, and just really trying to like push all of the symptoms out. And
this is off topic, sort of. It's on topic, but it's trailed off. Does the radiation ever leave, or do you just manage it? Like, how does that work once you have it in you? I guess I just assumed eventually it would just leave.
Yeah. I mean, you can cleanse it.
Or does it stay there?
You can, it's not like Lyme where it like lingers forever.
Okay. Interesting.
Okay.
And then, the last question that I have is, it says parasites, heavy periods, and used to have endometriosis and go.
Yeah. So basically there's a root cause. For me, my endometriosis was parasites and Lyme. That was mine, and mold. But for other people, it could be, you got to get your trauma in check as well, and just make sure that you're cleansing your system and not having all the plastics. That was another thing, and all of the extra hormones from chicken. And that's kind of why we're trying to show you how to clean up your health versus just parasite cleansing, because it's kind of a hand in hand thing. I had stage 4 endometriosis, beginning stage of cervical cancer, and I had 13 surgeries. I had a hysterectomy when I was 29, and then 5 surgeries after.
Oh my gosh.
That's what started my healing journey. So I get the endometriosis. Like, I don't have kids. I couldn't have kids. I mean, it was so bad. And all I continued to do was like cut things out. Like I never heated anything up in plastic. I tried to avoid plastic water bottles because it just causes a disruption in your body. And I always avoided not filtered water because you're getting pharmaceuticals, pelted onto you while you're showering, brushing your teeth. So when you have endometriosis, it is starting to cleanse, and that gives you enough energy to be able to continue to work out new, healthier habits. When you're so tired, you don't feel well, you're not going to go and put a filter on your shower. But if you actually take a little bit of a break and allow your body to get a little bit of a reset and rest, you might have that energy to go and change a filter on your shower so that you're not pelted with contaminated water. I think they said that you have like 3 to 4 cups of water that absorbs in your body every 15 minutes when you're bathing or in a lake or in a pool. You're absorbing all of that because this is our largest organ. And so everything that's in that water, you're absorbing it as well. I don't think people realize how water is like your fundamental. And so when I started to change all of that, my body started to heal better and faster. And I was having a lot better time cleansing than before.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay.
But sometimes you need that, like, you need that boost of energy. Because if you're so depleted, like the thought of getting up and actually ordering a shower head, replacing your shower head is just sometimes can feel too much when you're just that wiped. So
it's exhausting.
That's good. Well, then I guess piggybacking onto that, I'm going to add in one more question. It is, how much does diet while cleansing make a difference? Because I know the last podcast, what I loved, because I will overthink it. I'll overthink my drainage is not open. I'll overthink, well, I have a busy work week. I don't have time to meal prep. I love that you kept iterating. Don't overthink it. Just do it.
Just do it.
Because you're right. That did clear up enough of my bucket that I could then go. But how, like, on a practical level, how important is it to clean up your diet while you do it?
I mean, the first few times, it's not that important. You're getting the herbs in your body.
Just get it going.
You got to get it going. You got to get a baseline. You got to get the herbs in your system. That's what the most important part is getting a reset in order for you then to focus on it maybe 3 cleanses later. It's not something that needs to necessarily be focused on the first few cleanses. And then by your third cleanse, you're like, all right, I feel better. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab myself more organic chicken, or I'm going to go and clean my produce better. So it's really about just getting the herbs in your body. You have to get them in order for them to even work. And then once they start working, then you're going to feel better to do everything else.
Yeah. I love that.
I started a small series on my channel because, like, I get messages all the time of, like, we've been kind of doing this a long time, like reducing toxins in our home for a long time. And I just started it like 2 weeks ago. And like the DMs I get a lot of, like, hey, like, it's just bite-sized pieces. Like, hey, like if you have an extra, if you don't get coffee out, if you don't eat out this week, whatever, if, like any budget, do like X, Y, and Z first. Like remove your Teflon pans, like, and replace them. Go to a thrift store and get a stainless steel pan. You can clean it up real good. Like you can do it on any budget. Because like a lot of people are like, I don't know where to start. And it's also overwhelming. So I'm just not going to do anything. And like, that's the same thing with the health is like, like you just have to like, it's not a marathon. You're not going to do it all in one day. And like, that's where I think a lot of people stop, is because they can't do it in one day. Or like, we don't get that instant gratification. It's like, hey, healing is not linear. It's a journey. As lame as that sounds, it's a journey how it goes. But like, same with like reducing toxins. It's not going to happen overnight unless you're like hella wealthy and can just be like, no problem. Here's all the things, So that's great information.
Yeah. Slow.
Okay, we're gonna let you go.
Yes,
because like we've stolen a lot of your time.
Oh, it was so good. We've enjoyed it. It was so good. And this is one of my favorite topics, is just how to like do all of the replacement and keep it going,
Yeah. Is there anything we didn't cover that you want to touch on?
No, you guys, this was great. Thank you for the great laughs. Good. This was so fun.
Thanks for being with us.
Yeah, thanks for being with us. There was lots more questions, but like, we're going to let you go and get back to your life. But we really appreciate you. And guys, check out rogershood.com. And
beautiful new website.
Yes, beautiful new website.
There is a really cool question. Can you talk about the question form? What that looks like and what people can do?
The quiz. Yeah, you like that? So I did that.
I loved it. I love a quiz.
You got to go in and figure out exactly what your digestive issues are. If you've done cleanses, I don't think a lot of people know we have a support kit that will support you between cleanses. Maybe you just want to, maybe you've been exposed to some mold and so you don't really know where should I start. You should always start with Parify and then go to the Moldies kit. Moldies is a mitochondria booster. So even if you haven't had a lot of mold exposure, there's herbs that are in there that will help boost the mitochondria just to make you feel better, less brain fog. And then you'll have a much better Parafy cleanse after. So if your goal is just to keep going at it with Parafy, that's what you would want to do, is kind of rotate, get the mitochondria kit called Moldy's in. And then you also have Sustain that kind of goes in between. That goes inside of the support kit. So we did a quiz so that you kind of have an idea of where you need to go and where you need to start.
Love it.
That's what everybody needs. They just need to know where to begin.
Yes.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, Kim, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Everybody, we will see you all next Wednesday. Bye.
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 This content is for educational purposes only and is not intended as medical advice.
Please do your own research and find a trusted medical professional for personalized guidance and advice.
We are not responsible for your decisions based on the information you hear on this podcast.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks.
Thank you so
Okay,
much.
thank you so much. Sorry for all the kerfuffles.
Okay, now I can't hear anything.
Okay, there you go. Can you hear? Can you hear
me
now? Can you hear her?
Can you hear me now?
No.
Nothing.
Oh my
I
goodness.
don't know. Hold on.
That is wild.
Can you cut that?
Yeah.